Pops and the Rican.
Look at this. Pops and the Rican.
The Pops and the Rican.
What's the Pops and the Rican?
Look at the top of his head. Look at his head.
Pops and the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.
Hey! You got your snapback on, bro. What's going on?
I wanted to look cool, like the Rican,
Look at you, bro. Trying to make look at you, bro. That's what I'm talking about, man. You need to go ahead and get yourself a Gutties Comedy Club hat first before you do that.
Oh yeah, that's what I need because I just grabbed.
You stacked some for Jake.
Here.
There you go.
Okay.
And what's up? Yeah, you gotta make sure that there you go. Because you don't want to get mistaken, right, by an older person because if you're wearing a hat like that and you're shopping at Menards and you're getting root beer, people are gonna look at you and go, oh yeah, that kid over there just bought a case of root beer.
Well, you gotta have the tubby on.
You gotta have the mask on like this. Now it's like, all right, this kid, he's either gonna rob us, right? Either we're gonna get robbed, or hey.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How you guys doing? I see we got some viewers up. We're gonna let them jump on real quick. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining the Pops and the Rican show. He's Pops,
and he's the Rican,
and I'm the Rican, and this is the Pops and the Rican show.
Woo.
Well, we want to say what's up to everybody. Happy day. There's really no special. Is there like some kind of celebration going on, except for the fact that we're in October and we're in the middle of a crazy pandemic and we're still pushing on and pressing forward, man. Well, I'm ready to have some fun, man. I'm ready to have some fun.
It's October 15th.
It's October 15th.
And you know what that means? 14 days ago was my birthday, and you still haven't given me a present.
I'm sorry, bro, because you didn't give me one either. So let's just go ahead and not bring up the past, bro. Okay? A whole day passed. And everybody all my real friends, they were like, what's up? Hey, what's up, Will Miller? See, like, Will hit me up and he gave me a happy birthday, what's up? You didn't even say happy birthday, bro. You didn't even post a birthday. But everybody else would be posting little stuff on Facebook like, hey, happy birthday. And with Mr. Bean and all that stuff. I get it, bro. I get it. What's good, Doug?
Yeah.
How you feeling, man?
Well, if we're gonna talk about the fact that you're getting all hung up about
you started it.
I posted stuff on your Facebook. You
4 days later?
You just have unfriended me on Facebook, evidently.
I did. I do that. I'm like, nope. Bro,
which actually hurt both my feelings.
I know, right?
So
all your feelings, both of them.
Yeah.
Drew Squeeze jumping on. What's up, Drew? Man, I haven't seen you in a while. You need to stop by our open mics, man. Every Thursday, bro. We're missing you, bro. Come on through. Let's have some fun, man. We're having some fun over here every Thursday night. If you want to join us, our open mic nights are every Thursday night from 7 to 9. No, 8 to 9. Doors open at 7. Come on through. If you're a comic, make sure you email us. If you haven't yet, just email us at info@Gutties Comedy Club. And we're a clean room, so come and work out some clean material. That's how we roll. And let's have some fun, man. We got some challenges that come up, and we're having some fun, man. I think our open mics are starting to really open up. No pun intended. What? And I like what's happening, man. We have some really good comics coming through that are working on some material, and I like to see that.
And this week, we've said we're going to throw some challenges out to the comics, and so this week we put out the hey, you get a secret word 24 hours before the open mic to write a bit about the word, and the word this week is song.
Yeah.
So they have to do something. They have to write something about song, and so now we're challenging them to not only to bring their material to continue to work on, but they have to try to do
Put that
something
in their little-
special and
yeah.
new and sandwich it in between. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
It gets you going. It gets you at least, writing, getting your creative juices going. Man, there's a lot of great stuff going on Facebook too as well. I mean, I like supporting other stuff that's going on, like Right 10 Club with Hot Breath Comedy or Hot Breath podcast with Joel Byers. If you haven't yet, jump on that. It's a great way to get your writing and all that stuff going on too as well. Dennis, looks like you need a haircut. I need to shave a little bit. That's right. Go ahead and put
and
the
now
cat back on. There you go,
now
bro.
You can't even see that. I don't need a haircut. What are you talking about?
It's all good, bro. You're looking good. We have some great stuff going on. Okay, something new that's happening right now that we want to share with you guys, and that is our new community phone number, our text community phone number for Gutties Comedy Club has given us the opportunity to be able to bypass everything else, all the social media, and go directly to those who want to support Gutties Comedy Club. Our number is right below. You can see. You can text us. Text us anything. Say what's up. Say what's up to Pops and Rican. Say what's up to Dennis and me. We will connect with you directly. 317-597-6856 gets us instant access to all things Gutties. So you no longer have to go to the website and check out what time. You can just type in time. You can type in events. You can type in what's on a menu. All that stuff is instant, and you get instant access to that too as well. So you want to definitely join us. And then we have some really great discounts that are going to be coming through too as well. We got a few tickets left for this weekend with our special guest today with Ricky Glore. If you text us Ricky 10, you'll get $10 off at the door. So you don't want to miss that. See, that's the type of stuff that you can be a part of, and that is pretty much be a part of our community. So text us directly so that way you have access. So if you're in town and you're like, what's going on at Gutties? Hit events. The events pop up. Check them out. Buy your tickets. It's that simple, that easy. So you don't want to miss that. So please join our community. We love our community. 317-597-6856. Join us. I can't wait to get into this interview that we got today. Last time he was here, I wasn't here. So now that we got the whole squad in this, I can't wait to connect with this comedian that we have set up to our special guest. So I don't know about you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, so let's go ahead and get our special guest for today, Ricky Glore.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, Ricky, man? How you feeling, bro? How you doing?
Oh, I am feeling fantastic.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good with the mask. You're looking good.
Thank
Your nice little shave going. Looks like you got your cut going on too as well. Looking smooth, getting ready for this weekend.
What I like to do is I like to get it really, 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 really short all the way around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in about 3 weeks, it'll be the length that I want it to be. I don't think that's how you're supposed to wear your mask, Dennis.
It's like a mask / sleeping agent. Like you can go to sleep.
I have to wear a sleeping mask now. So last year when I filmed my dry bar special, my eye here was kind of puffy, and I didn't know why. And after I filmed my special, I went to the optometrist, and he said, you have what is medically called, this is the actual medical term, you have floppy eyelid syndrome.
Get out, bro. Floppy eyelids.
Floppy eyelid syndrome.
That's something like you tell your kid, right? What kind of terminology is that, bro?
Yeah,
that's
it's basically
crazy.
saying that my eyelids are fat. That my eyelids, they drag, they're hanging. And he said, as I get older and older, it'll turn more into like droopy dog, and it will just keep going down.
You straight up become droopy. Yeah, man, that's crazy, dude. That's like they don't even.
I have to wear an eye mask now when I go to bed. And I used to make fun of my wife because she would always, like right before she would fall asleep, she'd be like, all right, I'm putting on my mask. I'd be like, oh, you're turning into your superhero now? And now every night we each go, all right, it's time to become superheroes and put on our masks. So now we have this mask, we have this
And
mask.
this one, right, we're all masked up. I got you, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, with droopy eye syndrome, what is that? I mean, because if you have like sleep apnea, right,
Yeah,
you can like suffocate. With droopy eye syndrome, like what is that? What can happen if you don't wear a mask?
What happens, and it's what was happening to me, is because my eyelids are so big, and he said it has nothing to do with my weight.
Okay,
We'll see.
right.
I like that you jumped to sleep apnea. You're like, I think this boy has a few pounds. He probably has some trouble breathing while he sleeps. Look, just because I can't run doesn't mean that I can't sleep.
Right.
But no, so what was happening is my eyelids, while I would sleep, they would open without me knowing it. Like they would kind of hang down on the pillow, and they would open and they would collect dirt and dust and debris and gunk. And,
no way, bro.
Yeah, so there was an infection underneath my eyelid that I was just not paying attention to. So for about 4 months, I had to put in a medicated rubber that would hold my eyelid down over the night, and then I'd have to wash out the next morning so my eye would open.
That's insane. That's insane.
Floppy eyelid syndrome.
I think I had like 20 years ago. I think I had a computer that had that floppy something or another.
Yes.
The computer wouldn't work if I didn't use that floppy eyelid.
Floppy disk. Yeah, that floppy disk syndrome, bro.
Syndrome.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's just go with that.
Well, I'm glad that you do. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So I've become that guy. Whenever I go to sleep anywhere, like on the road, or like if we go to my parents or something, I feel like I'm completely packed. I have everything, and then I'm like, oh, where's my eye mask? Because I can't sleep without it, because my eye will flop open in the middle of the night and stick to the pillow.
Get out, dude. That is crazy. I've never heard of that. I'm trying to not get like cartoony, because you can see your eyes just flop over and then just like flip them. Like at night, you have to like fold them and bring them back over with your pillow. That's insane, dude. That's crazy.
So somebody would say something bad to you, and you'd give them the evil eye. Now you're going to give them the
floppy eye.
That floppy.
Yeah, because my eyes are already very closed anyway. They always have been.
Right, that's why
I had small eyes.
I just find it just interesting that that happens where it actually folds to where it's open. Okay,
so this is gonna get worse. And he said when it gets worse when you get older, almost like getting a facelift. He's like, the only thing we can do is to cut out excess skin and reattach and pull back your eyelids.
Bro, it's almost like I'm sorry, but it's inevitable. They're like, oh, it's inevitable. You're going to have to sew your eyes. Like, I didn't even think that's another thing you have to worry about is floppy eye syndrome.
It's like going to White Castles and inevitably you're going to get the crave case of 30 cheese sliders and you're going to eat half of them in one night.
Right.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Well,
Thanos.
I'm sorry you got into it. Right, exactly. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join us. I'm going through the whole. Man, we eat White Castles by the sleep. Just. Anyways, well, thanks for joining joining us here on the show. All right, so I know you probably talked a little bit about it, but I wanted to know a little bit more about your pretty much your comedy journey. Because what we like to teach here too as well is that comedy is not like something that's instant. It's definitely a marathon. It's not like a quick race, and you have to pretty much enjoy the journey as you're going through it, because it's something that you become and you're a part of, because it's who you are. And so teaching that here, trying to get that culture here to let everybody know when you want to do comedy, it's not just, oh, now I'm a comedian. No, it's like this is somebody, this is who I am, but also, this is the journey that I'm in. And so I wanted to know, if you didn't explain it before, I'd like to know a little bit more. How did you get to that journey? How did you get into that comedy journey that you're in now?
Besides influences of just making my family.
Oh.
Well, I hope that.
Am I back?
You're
my
back.
Eyelid just shut down.
That floppy eyelid just made the whole thing just go black for a minute.
Just
there.
Covered. It just like a wave. Making my family laugh. My dad always subjected me to a lot of old television, old movies. He was a film buff, and so watching things like Abbott and Costello growing up. I loved the Hope and Crosby road pictures. I would watch the Martin and Lewis movies. I didn't like them as much because I thought Jerry Lewis was very annoying.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit more mean-spirited, where Hope and Crosby, even if they were mean to each other, they always were kind of on the same playing field. And based on which movie it was, one of them ended up with Dorothy Lamour. It was never just Bing Crosby. And we're losing all of your viewers and your listeners. I don't know any of these.
They're
names.
dropping. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Can we see the eyelid again?"
It's $1 to touch the eye. It's 50 cents to look at it.
But so with that, so I was introduced. So like my Superman was George Reeves' Superman because my dad loved the Adventures of Superman TV show. Then my Batman was Batman 66 with Adam West, Burt Ward. Watched Man from U.N.C.L.E., Wild Wild West, The Monkees. My favorite band is The Monkees.
The Monkees. That was my pops. Yeah, my pops loved it too.
Watching things like The Monkees, I was already exposed to watching older comedies like the Marx Brothers. And John Lennon actually said, when asked, like, well, what do you think of the Monkees? The Monkees are a ripoff of the Beatles. He would always say, I think they're more like the Marx Brothers. He never took it as an affront that the Monkees were the American version. But so that just all snowballed as I got older. Then I started watching SNL, Comedy Central, right around the mid 90s when I was watching Comedy Central. They were showing on heavy rotation the Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, John Lovitz, Jan Hooks years. And so I fell in love with Phil Hartman and just everything about him and Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
And then my brother, Eric, who's 5 years older, he loved Wayne's World. And so then falling in love with Mike Myers, part of that cast, growing with that. And then when my brother was in high school, were the Will Ferrell when they took over years. And so he was watching SNL every Saturday. So I was watching it with him. And that just really is what exposed me to comedy, because then you go back and you watch old SNL when they would have a variety of different hosts or even performances.
Yeah.
Like Penn and Teller got their start on SNL.
Right.
Joel Hodgson from Mystery Science Theater 3000 got his start on SNL.
Awesome show too. Love that show.
Harry Anderson from Night Court as a magician started on SNL. Like, so you watch all of that, and then you see Steve Martin, you see Robin Williams, you see all this Canadian influence, and you see Martin Short, and you're like, oh, well, what did he do before SNL? Oh, he did SCTV. Oh, he was part of the live Second City cast.
Second City, bro, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just started becoming a nerd of that and connecting what my sensibilities of humor were with who I admired the most on the screen or on an album. And so my comedy, you know, like Phil Hartman was a great impressionist. So I would try to do voices for my dad and make my dad laugh. So like James Mason from The Boys from Brazil and Heaven Can Wait. So I'd be like, hello, this is James Mason. Oh, yes, Lolita. So like I would do that and like it would make my dad laugh. Now all my impressions I look back on like are James Mason's or Orson Welles, and I'm like, oh great, I can't do those on stage. No one is gonna know who those are.
right, exactly. That explains the whole your act too as well, because the ability to be able to jump from different impressions is dope, man. It's really cool to see that as well.
The first time I did John C. Reilly was my dad and I were driving to New York when I was younger. And this is before John C. Reilly even popped with like Step Brothers. This was more like he had just done like Boogie Nights and Chicago and a couple other small roles. But I started approximating his voice if he were to basically keep my dad awake while we were driving at late night. And it was, what if John C. Reilly hosted his own puppet show? And the joke ended up being, as I'm making my dad laugh while he's driving, like swerving off the road, was that John C. Reilly didn't differentiate between all of his different puppets' voices. So, they'll just kind of sound like this. Like, oh, let's talk to Greg in the trash can. Like, oh, hey, I'm Greg in the trash can. All right, next, Bubba. Like, and it was just that. It was just
That's
something
good.
dumb.
Yeah.
You know, you can still do all of those characters, and then at the end of the joke, just say, "Google it, kids."
Yeah.
Google it.
Well,
Right.
Luckily, John C. Reilly, because of Wreck-It Ralph and Step Brothers,
Right.
is still a viable impression. And I've only just started to see more impressionists do him, because for a long time, like when I worked with Frank Caliendo when I was first starting off at the Funny Bone in Newport on the Levee in Kentucky.
Mhm.
And obviously I was doing some impressions, but my impressions at that time were impressions of the impressions that the impressionists were doing. So it was like I wasn't doing like George H.W. Bush, Daddy
Okay.
Bush. I would be doing Dana Carvey's George H. I would impersonate Dana Carvey doing the impression.
Gotcha.
Or like Phil Hartman doing Peter Graves. Again, another old one. But I was talking to Frank Caliendo because obviously that weekend I couldn't do impressions as part of my act, because I'm not going to go up there as MC, and do a half-ass Sean Connery,
right. You
and
want
have him come up there and destroy it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that time, he was doing Wizard of Oz, but Robin Williams is all the characters or something.
Right.
It was brilliant to watch.
Mm.
But so I was talking to him one day, and I said, I have a hard time doing a bunch of impressions one after the other. Like, is there a way that you can work on your voice to know a sound that you can go to jump quickly between different sounding people's voices?
Hmm.
And he says, yeah. He's like, I came up with a catchphrase. If they have a catchphrase in their life that people know of, that's what you can use if it helps you get into the voice. But he's like, for Sean Connery, he's like, I always picture Sean Connery petting a goat and saying, nice goat. And he's like, that's how I get into Sean Connery. He's like, I just think of that.
Nice. Man, it's almost like, with transitioning from joke to joke in your set, you almost have to have some sort of way. I've seen comics do where they'll kind of like go like this, or they'll kind of do one of these where they're kind of pausing in between the joke to try to prepare that transition in between, or it may just be one of these. For me, sometimes I get when I want to think about something, I have to cross my arms, and then it kind of gets me in that place where I'm going to go into the next joke. So it's like, is that kind of similar to where it's almost like a catchphrase kind of gets you into that next character, which is super cool to be, at least to be able to. It's almost like a tip in between where, okay, I got this joke that's about shoes, and I want to transition into I don't know, parenting. How can I find a connection between the two, because sometimes they're way off. In your set, when you start going into character, is that the same type of understanding, or at least idea, by using that tip when you go up and you want to go into character? Is that something that you work through, or is that something that you pretty much have been able to figure out a way to do it?
That more comes in the preparation, less on stage.
Okay.
I do know that, like, so in my it's on my dry bar and on my album, when I do the presidents from 1985 to now, dramatically reading One Potato, Two Potato, I can do a George H.W., and I do it in chronological order. I can do a George H.W. Bush more off the cuff better than I can from the transition of Ronald Reagan to him. But I do find that it kind of like what you were saying, if you attribute a physical movement that helps you feel like it's basically acting.
Yeah.
You're embodying the character, that does help you sell, at least with the confidence to the audience, if not maybe also psychologically give yourself something. Because like my Ronald Reagan,
You get the
just do the part. I mean, it's offensive, I guess, because no disrespect, he had Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, but like that's the thing. But then like from him to like that, and then so it's Dana Carvey talks about that too, where eventually over time his impression of George H.W. Bush just became noises. And he's like, so if you can think of what the noise is, that can help go a little easier, because like from George H.W. Bush to Bill Clinton, George H.W.'s nasal and a little higher, where Clinton drops down, and it's an easier like kind of a drop, and also just doing the Clinton like the like that.
By no, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But also, I would never profess myself to be on the level of an impressionist of like Frank Caliendo. Frank Caliendo is sick good.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, we're all in that boat. I mean, when it comes from just even comedy in general, like when it comes to just telling jokes, slang jokes, you can always compare yourself to somebody else. There's nothing new under the sun, but at the same time, it's your perspective. It's your point of view, and it's your character. It's who you are. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's Frank Caliendo, but there's no, you know, there's only one Frank, you know, and there's only one Ricky. So it's how you bring it. Because, yeah, I could be a Puerto Rican comedian. There's tons of Puerto Rican comedians that have the same type of points and topics, but it's how I bring it to the stage that's going to separate me differently, because I'm not using that same. It's almost like, for like, okay, so the separation between clean comedians and, you know, blue comedians, and, you know, they all have the same topics, but we're coming at it in a different angle. Like Brian Regan, for example, he can take jokes that have been done, or at least the same type of jokes, and just bring more material with a new perspective and or point of view, and that's the creativity that we try to at least instill here, or at least to teach here, is, yeah, we're talking about parenting, but the creativity behind it is what matters. The creative writing is what's different. That's going to separate you from that. So, yeah, there's a Frank Caliendo, but there's also a Ricky Glore that has a different perspective, and I think we keep the comedy alive, I should say, when you're coming with that new, fresh perspective. What do you think, Pops? I mean, you're sitting there looking at me, bro.
Well, it always comes back to your perspective on life. And when you are coming at it from authenticity, from your experience, from what you have thought, what you feel, what's your viewpoint on this, what's your stance on it, then you bring a completely different flavor to that topic. It can be talked about a billion times, but you're going to bring something unique to it if you are truly coming from that authentic place within. And so you've got to start out with the truth and reality of, okay, what is my viewpoint and how am I thinking about it that is different than anybody else? And so, you know, it's, to me, it's you really have to focus on being truthful and authentic with and transparent with your inner soul as you're exposing. This is how I think about this. This is what I have to say about it. And that's what separates all of us from each other.
The Sharna Halpern and Del Close book that is used by a lot of improvisers is called Truth in Comedy, where their number one advice is, improv, you're not supposed to go in with a set idea in your head. You know, you're not supposed to derail. You're supposed to have a group mind, or at least be working towards it. But their main piece of advice is just be truthful, just be earnest. Like, so answer and be imaginative in the way that your brain is going, not where you think like, oh, this is going to be funny. Now, differently for stand-up, because it is selfish. It's you in the audience. And I think I said this on the last time. My biggest piece of advice, besides editing and writing, is, which I have a hard time following, is that as a comic, when you're starting off, you need to strive to entertain the audience. And that doesn't mean to pander. That means to be truthful to yourself and what you think is funny, and to represent that in your comedy. But if you're getting up on stage to show people how funny you are, that is such a deterrent and a turnoff, I think, to an audience, even if they don't understand why they don't like you. But if you go up there and being like, I'm here to entertain you. I might have worked on this act for 3 years before ever hitting a stage. I might have done this in my bedroom, in front of a mirror, in front of my friends, in front of whoever. But in front of an audience, just because you've said certain things in front of people a director, a friend, a wife, a parent, until it's the audience, they've paid more than what you have given just by being there. So
Wow, that's
your
good.
goal should just to be go up on stage and entertain them.
That's good.
When they don't
Well-
give you the reaction you think you deserve,
Yeah.
don't chastise them. Don't be like, oh, well, I was in Toledo last night and that got a real big laugh. So you guys must be a bunch of dum-dums.
Good
Yeah.
point. That's
And
good.
It's one of the things that I try to teach when I'm working with any new comics or when I'm teaching comedy college is the foundation of what we do isn't about us getting laughs. The foundation of what we do needs to be us giving the audience opportunities to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is when the focus is all about serving that audience and you're there to entertain them. You're there to make sure you're giving them the opportunities to laugh. Laughter is such a powerful tool. It's such a powerful experience. And we have been blessed with that opportunity to give the laughter, the opportunities for people to laugh. We've been able to give that away to them. And when we come in with this attitude, oh, I'm getting great laughs, it's all you're going about it backwards. It's not about you, it's about the audience.
Yeah, and comedy is so subjective and objective that to connect what you were saying about it's all been done and / like rewrapping an old staple or an idea where in your POV, that's your wrapping paper is you.
Mm-hmm.
You're wrapping the joke in your experience and your approach is to connect that with impressions and like Frank Caliendo. It isn't your job. I think you should always be as smart as your audience. You should never play down to them. That goes with pandering a little bit too. I think you should think they're always on at least your intelligent level or smarter. I actually think you should think they're smarter. But also like there's a new bit that I'm working on. So I already have for the impressions, I have everybody who's famous had to have a 9-to-5 job before they became famous, even rock stars.
Okay.
So how crazy would it be to have had those rock stars in like regular 9-to-5 jobs? And it's Brian Johnson of AC/DC coming to your table as a server. It's Dave Matthews bagging your groceries, and it's Elton John reading to kids at a library.
Okay.
And then that parlays me into reading nursery rhymes as my favorite celebrities to my daughter. There's a new bit that I'm working on that I'm probably going to work this weekend, new impressions, where there's a website called Cameo now, where you can pay celebrities to say whatever and to wish you happy birthday. Probably eventually we're going to have an option on Uber to have celebrities pick us up and drive us where we want to go. And then I do impressions of certain people that I'm not doing later in the show as Uber drivers.
Yeah.
That's mine. Like, and I wrote out what the driver says and the celebrity says, and I fit it with my sensibility of comedy to the voice that I can do. But that, as an audience member, I could sit there and be like, here's the thing is advice for audience members. Go to a comedy club to have fun. Don't go to again. So actually an audience member should have the same goal as the person on stage. Don't go to a comedy club to be like, I'm funnier than this guy. I'm funnier than this girl. Like, go there to have fun. Don't go. Like, we didn't bust into your house to perform. Like, you made a choice.
Right.
But so as an audience member, I could sit there and be like, oh, he's doing impressions of an Uber driver. I've seen this. Or, oh, this is like when GPS first came out and people would be like, oh, what if Christopher Walken was the voice of your GPS?
Right.
Or like Joe Pesci and stuff. Yeah, it's all the same thing. But does it make you laugh? You know, is the entertainer like amusing to you? Is it
entertaining? Yeah.
Is it entertaining? Or if it's not, like, wait 2 minutes. He's probably the comic's gonna be on another subject. Like, don't just be like shut down, be like, well, this is hacky. It's the same knee jerk as an audience member or a comedian watching comedy that you do when you see a comedian go up on stage with a musical instrument. Like,
They're expecting right.
You want to
Right.
judge them, even as a comic, and as an audience member. I'm like, how good is this going to be, or is this going to be one joke strung throughout a 3-minute song over and over again? But I am guilty of it too. But I try not to be as much because I'm like, yeah, this is comedy. This is stand up. Nanette, Hannah Gadsby special. Anyone who says that's not stand up, who cares? Like who needed your opinion? Because the people that are watching it and enjoying it, there's no one that's watching that and enjoying it going, that's not stand up.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes without saying. There's comics who say, okay, you can't be too physical on stage. You know, being physical on stage, you're not doing.
You have
You're
to
not
be
doing.
lethargic and lean on the mic stand.
I'm just saying, like, you got
Yeah.
comics who say that, you know, you're moving too much, you're acting too much, you're overacting, so that's not stand up. You don't have jokes, right? It's not set up punch. It's like you're telling too many stories. You're a storyteller. You're a TED talker. It's like all of that is always gonna be.
Why do we want all of our comedians to be prepackaged and all alike?
I think it seems like there is this. I don't know. I guess being a part of the industry, I guess what I've been exposed to, there's always going to be that standard of this is pure stand-up, right?
Mhm.
You have pure stand-up comedy. It's unfiltered. It's not hacky or anything. It's pure. And only a select few are on the pure stage of standard of what stand-up comedy is. And then you have these other guys who want to be that guy. And it seems like it has created that standard where if you don't cuss or if you're not edgy or if you're not, then you can't be one of the standard up here because, you know, everyone who's been edgy and been, you know, going against the grain are the ones that are trailblazers and all this mess. So it seems like because that has been established, now we as, you know, clean comics or, you know, comics that do puppetry and all this other stuff, like all that is just pretty much stuff.
Wait. Just a minute now. You crossed the line. You can bring a guitar up
I
there.
was ready to
You
say
can bring a guitar up there.
Wait.
You can do all of the physical stuff. You can bring props up there. I don't care. Just leave the puppets
Leave the puppets.
with the little kids in
I'm just-
the nursery.
No,
But everybody-
Dennis, you're wrong. Look, if it's vaudeville and it's comedy, if comedy is the goal, who cares? Like,
I get
bring
you.
it up there. Like,
Right.
you know, like, it just goes back to the kingmakers of like what you were saying of like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like. My favorite comedians aren't ones that I might be put in the same category of. Like you were saying, a Brian Regan or a Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Like a clean comic. And people, like, different people have looked at me and they're like, oh, you look like Seth Rogen and Chris Farley. But, like, do I need to fit into that box, though? Or do I need to be truthful to who I am? People have been like, oh, he looks like Chris Farley and Jim Gaffigan. I'm not. The only hindrance it's going to be is if you think I have to be like Gaffigan.
Right.
And I love Gaffigan.
Right.
Like Brian Regan's fantastic too. They're not my favorite stand-ups to watch. It's
Right.
like ice cream flavors. There's different moods. There's a reason why Ben and Jerry's has like 50 different flavors is because on a particular day you might be interested in what that flavor is saying to you. So like I will watch a John Mulaney. I will watch
Right.
you know, there's Seinfeld how anal retentive and cerebral he is.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie Murphy, Sam Jay.
Right.
There are different comedians that may use language.
Right.
And just because I work clean, that is because it's really kind of a representation of who I am as a person. I curse. Like
Right.
everyone curses.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't.
Look, Dennis just looks like he's doing some shady business at his house right now. But
Yeah.
I don't.
outside of that, he looks like he got a side hustle going on. But I
Yeah.
get what you're saying.
But yeah, so the kingmaker, it's exactly what you're saying. It's the shadow committee of the kingmakers of the hierarchy of like, oh, well, you're not really doing stand-up until you do the Comedy Attic or
Right.
you do the Cellar in New York City. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm pretty sure there's 50 states and there's 1,000 clubs.
Bro, and this is the beauty of this is always going to be my argument. At least until I can find some sense of clarity of what's going on. Like, are you like we struggle? I don't say struggle. I think more of our stance is as a comedy club is always going to be, well, you're not a real comedy club because you're doing clean comedy and you don't serve alcohol. And I'm like, okay, so that means we're not a real comedy. What sets you apart? Because we're not the comedy store? Because we don't have Joe Rogan roll through? Or like, what is it? What does it really mean? Like, we got comics that have been seasoned vets that do stand up, that do clean comedy for 25, 30 years that people probably never heard of, but they've been touring, they've been traveling, and they've been successful at what they do. Does that separate them too? Is like, does that put them at a lower because of the fact that they haven't done the Comedy Store or they haven't done the Improv, or like, what separates real true comedy, pure comedy, versus us just trying to do something?
You're doing comedy because you're doing comedy, and the people who are coming there want to be entertained, and the people who are performing want to entertain. My best representation of what you just said is, and also I'm not a famous comedian. I don't have name recognition. I have a small bit of credits, which hopefully helps me get some bookings here and there. But this weekend, there's not going to be a lot of people that are like, I'm here to see Ricky Glore. Like, they're coming to see clean comedy, or where. There's not always directly a political affiliation with that either, which I think puts some clubs or venues in a box, which is unfortunate. But I primarily, within the last couple of years, perform at vineyards, wineries, and breweries.
Okay.
Salt of the earth people who come to see the stand-up show and the comedy show because they want to come to laugh.
Right.
A lot of times people will go to clubs, like regular clubs that you're talking about with alcohol and stuff, and they want to be judgmental, and their arms are crossed, and it's almost like you got to be an ice sculptor, and you have to chisel them to earn their trust to laugh. Like, I also have worked at all the funny bones in the United States in some capacities at MC or feature, and there is a different mentality between those people where they're going to an institution where they know it's comedy. Comedy happens here, but there's something, they have their guard up a little bit more. In Cincinnati, one of the local clubs, the mentality there and the comedians who work there and the people who book there, I have legit been told that you don't get booked there based off of how funny you are to the audience. You get booked on how funny you are to the people who book it. So you got to be a comic, and you have to hang out, and you have to do all the after show hangs and stuff. And so I have a hard time there. And because of that, I was like, well, maybe I do have more of a Midwestern sensibility where I do well at these brewery shows and stuff on the road, out of town, out of state. Then I did like 6 shows in California last year, and one of them was in LA at El Cid on Sunset, and I was nervous because I was like, okay, so this is going to be a young crowd, and maybe I'm not as funny as I think I am. This is the test, and it went great.
From what I hear, the crowd that's planning on coming this weekend, they're coming to see the floppy eyelid.
So far, everybody's saying it. They want to see how that works.
But, so, not one of my first shows back last month. I did an outdoor show in Cincinnati, run by a lot of people who work at this particular club I'm talking about that I don't do well at or feel good or comfortable at. But I did an outdoor show in front of a young audience, a college audience. A lot of those same comedians were performing. I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. And I had an awesome show. Okay. And it was great. I closed the night out, and it was packed outside, social distance and picnic tables and stuff. And yeah, it helped me feel that even though a club might be local, if they're detrimental to how you feel about yourself as a comedian, you don't need that club. Even if you started there, because a lot of clubs, whoever books it, they won't see you beyond the first time they saw you perform. No matter how much you've grown, you'll always kind of be in that box to them. So you spread your wings, go on the road, do other shows around that club. You don't have to. Not everyone needs that home. Home is where you make it.
I got you. Yeah, and I think that's so true because the way that was, even now, sometimes we catch flack because we give some local comics, a chance to host, and we're giving them some time on stage, and they're like, "Well, I don't know, why did you put that guy up to host?" And it's like you don't understand the how we have to balance and manage this. Is we're comics ourselves. So Dennis and I, when we see that come through, we do see the hustle and grind. We do see how much are they putting in work to get better. And so we want to give them that opportunity to experience and get better. How else are you going to get better? Why would I bench him and say, well, get better and not give them a chance? It doesn't make sense to say, oh, I'm not going to wait till you get better. How are they going to get better if they're never getting on stage?
That's my other advice too. That's what I did when I moved back to the Cincinnati area in 2017.
Yeah.
Me and two other guys were going on the road booking shows, and we were calling ourselves the Brew Crew Comedy Tour because we're going to a lot of breweries, and that's a nice marketing name. Yeah. And so you don't have to market a specific comedian because you haven't heard of these comedians.
Right.
But so what we did was every show we would rotate the order. So whoever emceed one show featured the next one. Whoever featured one show had to headline the next show. So it was forcing us to do all the positions.
Nice.
To see what it feels like doing an MC set of 15 minutes and hosting a show versus what it's like doing then a 25-minute set featuring, which is a real sweet spot. You don't have to open the show. You don't have to close it. You just
that hammock is comfortable. Yeah.
And then headline, like to push yourself. And at that time we were doing like 35 to 45 minutes. And so doing that for a year, getting to do each one of those spots, like on the road, out of state, it's fantastic.
And that I love that. I love that whole idea because that's the thing is we're trying to teach them different ways. If you can't find time, well, now that with this pandemic, they're getting creative by going online and doing mics online, which is another whole different experience. But at least they're grinding. At least they're out there doing work. And if you're out there doing work, and as an owner of a club, we have to make sure that there's quality coming through. And so because we have a higher standard.
Oh, you want quality? Oh, maybe I shouldn't come
this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll do it every weekend.
I was going to bring a ukulele. I was going to do impressions.
As long as you don't bring any puppets.
I have puppets. Dennis, you know I have puppets.
So we try to make sure that, as a comedy club and as the fact that we're bringing clean comedy, we have a higher standard that we have to, as far as quality, that we have to work through because the expectation is going to be high. And so if we don't provide provide with that quality that we're trying to push in, people are going to immediately just tone us out because of the fact, they're just clean. That's going to be mediocre every time. And so we have to battle that. But at the same time, I'm not going to take away the opportunities for comics that are going through this thing and working this out, and giving them opportunities. I'm not going to, I want to give them and grant them that access to that as well. So, because I believe in that, I believe in the fact that the more you invest, in comics that are putting in, that we're going to get out what we're expecting. And so if we inspect what we expect, we're going to get, some results. So that's why it's so important as a comic, especially if you're starting off, to just be involved in. If you don't have a club that, embraces you for who you are, then find a crew. Because comics can be very crab-like mentality, where we're like, if we see somebody going up, we immediately want to pull them down just because we want to be up there. I've been doing it for 2 years. Why is he going up there? He's only been doing it for 2 weeks. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's very catty. And it's like, okay, there's still a group of people which we're trying to create that community here where we really want to see you win. And whether or not, we're involved or not, we still want to see you win. And we want to see you get to that place where, because like we say, it's a marathon. It's not an instant, boom, we're in and we're done.
The reality is most audiences, you have a couple of those times where you get the audience like, well, go ahead, impress me, Joker boy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, for the most part, they want you to be funny. They want you to succeed. They want you to help them laugh. They want you to give them the opportunity just to laugh and take a break from all of the stress for a little while. That's why they're coming in. So, before we run out of time here, Ricky, I do want to ask you. I know the last time that you and I talked here, you were talking about your album was hitting. Now it's been dropped. How's the album doing right now? And where can people find information on how they can get that album?
I got my first paycheck for the album week and a half ago, and it was decent. So that was cool. As we talked last time, it's hard not having a lot of road shows, you know, because I did have a lot scheduled for right when the album was going to be dropping. But I'm going to be bringing some postcards to the club where it tells people where they can watch my free dry bar special on one side, and then it has the info for my album on the other side. Regardless, if you want to buy the album at the club or for future shows when people come through, if they're like, oh, look at this. But people can get it on iTunes, Amazon. They can listen to it on Spotify. So you can stream it. So you can click whatever the Spotify thing is and download it or whatever. I think a few tracks are on Sirius XM on a couple of the comedy stations there. And you can get a physical copy, which I'll also have at the club this week. And I know physical CDs, they're even more archaic than vinyl now, than records. Yeah, even cars don't have CDs. But behind the CD in every album comes a digital download link. So you can get the album and put it on your smart device, whatever you listen to your music on.
Good.
And you can also buy those, the physical, if you're not going to be at the club this week, at circustrapeze.com.
Circustrapeze.com. Okay, cool.
So, yeah, and my dry bar special, and I know you guys have a lot of dry bar comics. It's really hard to convince people that there is no gimmick to the dry bar link to the app.
Okay.
Yeah,
everyone I'm like,
what do you mean that's free? That can't be right. You're
like,
gonna snooker me.
Commercials and blah blah blah. Like, nope.
Yeah.
There's over 1,000 comedians, fantastic comedians, with their special on dry bar that you can watch for free.
It's here now. I mean, when we first started Gutties and getting clean comedy going, this was back in 2003. Dennis and I, we were just so like the vision of what it was all about. I was like, man, clean comedy and this avenue, this venue is so ready. And so when I saw Dry Bar drop, I was like, yes. It's like it's real. Like, it's not something that we're trying to come up with. It's not some hokey little thing on the side. It's not. It's not an issue like, floppy eyelid syndrome. You know what I mean? It's like we are serious with what we're doing, and I'm just glad that you're a part of it. I'm glad that we're able to connect with and show everybody that it's out there. It's real. It's good, and it's quality stuff that everybody can connect with. So I'm glad that you got it set up that way. So it's good stuff.
So Steve, before you were so busy talking earlier, and I was kind of watching the two of you. And I saw Ricky take off his glasses, rub his eye, and his eyelid unfolded, rolled down, hit the gas pedal, and I thought I thought he was going to drive out of our signal because he.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Wait, so I'm still spinning vinyl too, Doug Arnold. I have so many records. I just got, because I have a big record player that, almost like a jukebox, holds like 10 albums and then drops one after one is completed, and so it'll play 10 albums, at least one side.
Yeah,
but that's in my basement in my man cave, and I didn't want to have to keep on. I wanted to listen to albums upstairs or even outside, and so I got myself nicely reviewed on Amazon. It's a suitcase that has a record player inside. And so I'm still listening to vinyl that way.
Dude, I am straight. I'm go ahead.
My son actually has something very similar to that when he moved out to Portland, he was living in his van, and so that was his music was on his vinyl, but he had a little small turntable that he would play. And even now, that he's moved out of the van into a house with a couple of other comics.
Mm-hmm.
They are, they still every once in a while have their album party so they can listen to it on vinyl. Kids these days.
Dude, I'm telling you, now they're catching up on it. But to be honest with you, man, I am a straight 8-track player. Like bro, that was. I mean, my dad he was boating a Cadillac Eldorado.
My dad
with a straight 8-track player and armor all across. So we were just sliding every turn. But 8 tracks was where it's at when I was growing up. So I'm trying to find something where I can collect them 8 tracks, man, and have
my
them.
dad has a Trans Am and did when I growing up too, a Trans Am with an 8-track player. So I am very. My dad had also in our basement growing up a stereo that had a turntable, a cassette recorder, and an 8-track.
8-track, bro. Yeah, that's it. We had a huge. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say I wanted to ask you guys because I wonder if this is a question that comes up a lot. Explain the name Gutties. I think I know what it means.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, how many people see Gutties and they're like, I think it means gut laughs.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, bottom line, what it was is, okay, so I was sitting with my buddy Brian Johnson, just going over just the whole concept of what Gutties was all about. And we're sitting like, oh man, like we're just 1, 2 in the morning, just going over ideas, just mulling over ideas. And it was like, what is this all about? What is this entity? What is this all about? Because I wanted to create a place where what we have right now, which is everybody's safe and it's a great environment, it's safe, it's clean, da da da. So I was like, well, I wanted to make a name that was synonymous to like, just like when you say a one-line like Zanies, when you say improv, when you say, boom, it's just boom, helium. It's like you got that one line. And then we just went into what happens when you're at a Gutties Comedy Club show. Well, my head is hurting, the back of my head is hurting, my neck hurts, we're laughing so hard I'm crying, my stomach hurts, my gut hurts. That's where the gut-busting laughs come in, and that's where that Gutties comes in. So Gutties Comedy Club is just all about gut-busting laughs.
I love it.
So you hit on that, bro?
And now people know. Have you told that story a lot?
Yeah, we get that too. When they get in there, like they'll point to Dennis, be like, "Are you Gutties?" Because they see that big old belly.
G Gutties. Or no, there's a club. There's a smaller club in, I think it's Newport News, Virginia, called Gutties, and their emblem is a 4-leaf clover because they are Irish. And I was calling it when I got there, and I hadn't met the owner yet. I was just talking to the workers. I was like, I really like Cozies. Like, Cozies is such, like, I get it. It's cozy because you're cozy here, and everyone's here to have a good time, and it's cozy. And they're like, don't let the owner hear you call it Cozies. It's Cozies. And I was like, thank you so much for telling me. Right.
That would have been so awkward. But I get it. And that's exactly it. Like, some people are like, the name, they really want to know what's connected to the idea. And that's exactly it. It's gut-busting laughs that you'll get at Gutties.
And your hat, Steve, is that an emblem or is that a sticker on a hat?
That's the logo. That's what we pretty much have. Yep, we were able
those are sold at the club.
Yep. We're gonna press that in the club too.
I am buying a hat this week.
That's awesome.
I love hats.
Thank you. Awesome, man. That's great. Thank you for supporting, man. I appreciate it.
Well, we are looking forward to having you back having you at the club. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
We are. I know we had you scheduled, then COVID took everything off.
I was your first canceled weekend.
Bro, no, and that stinks. It
was true.
Yeah, man. Now we're glad that, and I wish we were back to operating at 100%. Technically, our governor said, "Okay, you guys can go 100%, but you have to be socially distanced." Well, in a comedy club, you can't be 100% and socially distanced.
Yeah.
So,
well, with our spot too as well, it's because it's the beauty of what we have is that the laughs stay because it's cozy. It's in that place where the laughs stay and it sizzles and it's great. It's very infectious. It's very cozy.
Yeah, it's very cozy.
So it's tough to have to socially distance, but we managed to do a really great job at keeping everybody 6 feet away, and everybody has their specific tables. They can reserve their seating, and they're going to have a good time. At the same time, everything is pretty much wiped down and made sure. If you want to wear your mask, wear a mask. There's no restrictions on that too as well. Come through. The laughs will still push through. You'll still hear us, and you'll still have a good time. Go ahead.
And who's the full bill this weekend?
Well,
I think I know, but
we have a guest. Our MC this weekend is Turnbuckle Bill.
Turnbuckle Bill, great dude. He's fun. He's fun.
Turnbuckle Bill, or as sometimes we just call him Bill Turn, although his real name is Turnbuckle, which is weird.
His birth name is Turnbuckle.
No, I don't. I actually I don't think so. But
I don't think he's Native American.
But I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say yes. And then we've got a guest spot with Jake Rubel.
I love Jake.
And and the only reason that he's on as a guest spot was he came whining. Can I please do a little bit with Ricky, please?
No, what I heard was he was gonna be my MC way back in March, and then when I got rescheduled, it was, oh, Jake, you want to MC for Ricky? And he said, no, thank you. I will do Dusty Slay the week later because he's a much better comedian with notoriety.
Jake's gonna have to jump on here, man. He has to defend himself.
I cannot deny or affirm that assertion. But if you want to punch him in the throat for that, please do.
When you see him.
So,
and then feature act.
Jake is in the guest spot role, and then our feature act is actually a local favorite here in the Indianapolis market, Dave Dugan.
Mm-hmm.
Dave has been in the business for 6 centuries. I'm not saying he's old, but he's been around as long or longer than I have. So let's be honest, he's old. But Dave Dugan is in the feature spot, and then we've got this headliner coming out of the Cincinnati area.
What's his
name?
Floppy Eye. Floppy.
Oh, Floppy.
Old Floppy. That's what they call him.
Old Floppy.
In Cincinnati, that's what they call him. Old Floppy is coming all the way from Cincinnati. Ricky Glore.
Yeah, buddy. He's got this bit about conjunctivitis. I can't wait till everybody jumps on that, man.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow and everyone who shows up at the club. What's the code to if people get a discount?
Ricky 10. Yep. If you text us Ricky 10 to our 317-597-6856, they'll get $10 off at the door. So. We got a few tickets coming in, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. Go ahead.
I will do also a special if you mention Ricky 10 at the show. If you're listening to this and you mention Ricky 10, I will sell you my album for $10.
All right.
You'll get it's almost a half discount. But
all right,
if you mention this and Ricky 10, you get it for $10.
There you go. See, now that's why we want everybody to jump on our community, because you get discounts like crazy. I mean, you're just going to have so much more direct contact with your club, number one, with Gutties Comedy Club, and also with everybody else. And you get to meet and greet with everybody with Ricky Glore. You get that discount with Ricky too as well. So you definitely want to jump on and make sure you do that. Thanks again, Ricky. We appreciate you, man, and can't wait for this weekend, man. So have a good one, man. Take it easy.
See you later. Peace.
Yeah, man, by all means, come out this weekend. Come out this weekend. Ricky 10, you get your $10 tickets. You say Ricky 10 to Ricky. He'll give you a $10 album. And if you say Ricky 10 twice to Ricky, he'll let you take a picture of his floppy eye.
Floppy eyes. So you definitely get some floppy eye photos going on with Ricky and hanging out, man. You definitely want to do it.
It'll be so much fun. So
so don't forget, 317-597-6856. Join our community. Text us directly. Say what's up. We will instantly text back and make sure that you're connected with what's going on with Gutties Comedy Club. You can text in events. You can text in all that stuff, and it's instant. And that's what we want to do, is we want to be able to create that that place for you to know, hey, even if you're like, hey, what's going on at Gutties? What's happening in this whole COVID thing? We can definitely connect, let you know, hey, this is what's happening. We definitely are getting the place set up for you, and we're making sure that we're covering all CDC guidelines, because it is getting in that point where we want to make sure you're safe, everybody's safe. So again, bring your masks, wear your masks. You can still hear me. We're laughing, we're having a good time, and I just can't wait to be able to sit down and kick it with you guys again this weekend with Ricky Glore and all this. The lineup, dude, is going to be great. So you don't want to miss that. Bring your family, bring your friends. Let's have a good time. And I can't wait.
If you don't have a mask for some reason because you've been living under a rock, or you don't like the mask you have, you can buy Gutties. You can buy Gutties masks.
We have them. We have really nice. We got these cool ones like this. Yeah. We also have some like this. Look.
So we've got. Oh, and I won't do it. I'm going to be like, oh look, it's QVC for Gutties.
It's QVC. Yeah, exactly. No.
We do have masks that you can buy at the club. We also have, as Steve's wearing the cool Gutties hat. I'm just wearing a hat because some rude person said I needed a haircut. I'm not going to say any.
Bro, you look like you are. You're doing some side hustle there, bro. I'm not going to
say any names, but
straight light.
When Bill was like, "Hey, he needs a haircut," rude. Okay, so
it's all good. It's all good, man. Yeah. So again, join us. Make sure you text us 317-597-6856. Tonight we have open mic night. If you want to come hang out with us, you can do that too as well. Show up. The doors. It's only $5 show. You can come and check out what's going on here. All the local comics come in. They're working out material. They're getting funnier and funnier. You want to come in and hang out with us? You can. We have everything open. You'll be able to get some concessions too as well, and just have a good time. Hang out with us. That'd be great. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8 o'clock here at our open mic night every Thursday. We have something fun going on, so you definitely want to jump on that. But again, 317-597-6856. Text us. We'll say what's up, hello, and be a part of what's happening here at Gutties, even in the middle of all this craziness that's happening. Be safe and make sure that everybody, make sure you are safe. Make sure you guys are a part of what's going on. All right. So again, I don't know about you, but crazy man over here, that's Pops.
I'm Pops, and that guy over there,
I'm the Rican.
He's the Rican.
Yes.
And this has been the Pops and the Rican Show.
The Pops and the Rican Show. Deuces.
Pops and the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.
Look at this. Pops and the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.
What? The Pops and the Rican.
Look at the top of his head.
Pops and the Rican.